Welcome back. We're glad you are still with us on The Explainer. Now, in the serene landscapes of Kericho's tea plantations, a stark reality unfolds, shrouded in silence and obscured by the lush beauty that surrounds it. Women toil under the weight of not just the physical labor, but also the burden of abusive labor practices. Shockingly, these resilient workers find themselves entangled in a web of exploitation where their daily wages are held hostage, contingent upon their willingness to endure harassment from supervisors. In marking these 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, our reporter Mary Mwoki unravels the distressing plight of these women who not only grapple with the denial of their fundamental rights, but also suffer various forms of abuse.
In the tranquil hillsides of Kericho, the sprawling tea plantations paint the landscape in lush hues of green against a backdrop of clear blue skies. But in the midst of all this beauty, a silent struggle unfolds. At dawn, as mothers bid farewell to their children, anticipation for a day's honest labor fills their hearts. Little do they know that their journey into the well-manicured tea estates is marred by an insidious injustice, assigned impossible targets by supervisors with malicious intent. These women find themselves set up for failure. Shockingly, their wages are withheld, punishment for failing to succumb to unwelcome advances.
Sasa huyo team leader, kama ni sio mama, ni mwanaume, atakusabilia laini kutoka 1 mpaka 70. Ambapo hata yeye mwenyewe anajua uwezi fanya nini, uwezi lima hapo ufanye nini, umalize. Hapo sasa ndiye atakuja kukuambia ati mimi naona kazi yako sio mzuri nini, ama atakwambia si nilikwambia unifanyie hivi na ulikataa. Utaendelea kuumia mpaka dakika ya mwisho. Sasa ikifika siku yenye mumepewa pesa ama malipo, ukiangalia hivi slip utapata karibu kwa tunafanya kwa 26 days, utapata uko na 16 days 10 hakuna.
Ni kipimo kikubwa, obvious hauwezi maliza, lakini kwa sababu huenda unataka kuna kitu unataka kutoka kwangu, maybe unitumie kimwili na nikakata. Sasa itabidi utaniandikia siku kwa sababu sikumaliza kile kipimo. Tena kesho unanipimia the same kipimo na ya jana sikumaliza.
Unable to cope with the frequent cuts in their earnings and the constant harassment, some opt to give in to the sexual harassment from the bosses.
Nilikuwa nafanya huko nyuma, sisi wa mama tulikuwa tunaingia kwa hiyo janga kwa juu, nasema kama ni kitu moja ndiye anataka, wacha nifanye nini? Nimupe ili nikae na ama.
Unaware that they are victims of a subtle form of abuse, these resilient workers press on, their daily toil shadowed by a silent oppression amidst the pristine beauty of the tea plantations. As most of them are semi-illiterate, they are uninformed about their rights and lack avenues to report and resolve disputes without suffering the consequences of victimization or discrimination as the case runs its course. There's also the very real threat of losing their jobs and livelihoods if they dare speak out or paint the company in negative light. When all is said and done, these women remain trapped in an abusive circle, and in a sad twist of fate, the union blames them for not knowing the labor laws, despite the fact that many of them are not educated.
These employees are partly to blame, because if you look at the labor laws, how do you report a dispute to the next level? Because if anybody feels harassed, he has to report to the shop steward, and if that case cannot be solved, it has to be escalated to the branch secretary. And that is what, in most cases, that is what we do. And therefore, note that the union is not taking any action. And therefore, we feel it is very embarrassing for us as an organization to hear that workers are being sexually harassed.
The Kenya Plantation and Agricultural Workers Union says as much as they have a mandate to agitate for safe working spaces for all workers, the employees also have a responsibility to avoid being victims by reporting the abuse as it happens. The women, however, say reporting these cases does not change anything and accuse the unions of being in bed with the exploiters.
Nyuma huko ndo union walikuwa na nguvu, lakini sasa sio haina nguvu sana. Lakini sasa hii union sio wako karibu na wafanyakazi. Sijui wamemeswa na kampuni.
As the world observes the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, activists have called for the empowerment of women and potential abuse victims to identify subtle forms of sexual abuse and exploitation, as well as underscore the crucial role of companies in creating safe working environments by fostering a culture of zero tolerance that will go beyond the activism period. Miri Mwoki, Citizen TV.